Howdy folks, Keywii here, and welcome back to Suzerain, a safe space in which to be awesome, where we're, of course, trying desperately not to fucking lose everything and die horribly. Our country is on the brink of something, and every country beside, we got Agnolia, who was our friend, not so much anymore, Rumberg, who has always hated us, we got, Lesbia to the south there. They're very helpful up to a certain point where they would gladly drop us for a nickel, and the people across the sea who are fucking very, very powerful, and in the past, they absolutely destroyed us. But finally we got Welland. Now Welland is financially, they're very poor country, and they got a lot of war and strife and stuff going on. And we have an area in between our borders where the Bludia people live. And the Bludia people are like an indigenous people or something. And they're certainly a minority group. And they want, the Bluds, they want their own sort of stuff going on. And Welland is strictly against that. So we're going to read some news. Alright, so let me see here. The radical journalist arrested. The Swedish authorities detained the journalist John Dandern of one of the country's opposition newspapers, The Radical, on Monday for suspected links to the militant organization Red Youth. Earlier today, the police claimed that they discovered Dandern to have close ties with the banned Red Youth organization. The police released the reason for the arrest in a statement claiming that he was suspected of planning violent attacks against the state. So for Darkness Descends, God, this is a long article. A respected correspondent and columnist, journalist John Dandern, was arrested after several others yesterday after trying to report on the police's arrests of members of the socialist unions. He was immediately arrested on scene without being given a reason. Without providing evidence, the prosecutors said the detainees were suspected of committing crimes on behalf of Red Youth militants, who Holsord has agreed of organizing terrorist attacks and a coup attempt against the Swedish government. Dandern was known for heavy criticisms of the government and has reported many significant stories which the government wished remained secret. As a journalist who fought for the truth, we are perfectly aware of the real reasons behind the arrest. Today, darkness has descended on the radical. We have lost a great journalist. It's a dark day for journalism in Sordland. We, the team here at The Radical, condemn this arrest and ask the government to reevaluate their decisions. We ask that Dandern be released, and we promise the Swedish people that nothing will stop us from sharing the truth with you. We will not be silenced. The morning will come. Geopolitico. Hegal van Hoorten is playing with fire. Yesterday morning, Chancellor of Volksland Hegal delivered a press conference in Helm about the escalating tensions of Helgeland. During the press release, he said, Agnolia's unlawful occupation of the island will not stop us from doing whatever it takes to protect our people living in Helgeland. He heavily criticized and condemned Prime Minister Van Hoorten, saying we are dealing with an illegal occupation force which doesn't refrain from entering our territorial waters without asking our permission. Van Hoorten is playing with fire, and if he is not careful, he might get burned, said Hegel. Geopolitical will be watching the developments closely. Yeah, no, so I didn't proclaim that the island belonged to Agnolia. Maybe this one, certainly, but not the one here, we got the Gary Strait, and this is a very, very important trade route, and Agnolia wants access to it. Not a lot of trade routes go through here, but two very important trade routes go through here. One from Lockhaven to Wilburn, another from, the actual sea, and Tessian Sea in between the Volgus Channel there. So it's a very important island to hold on to, and that's why they want it so badly. But I'm not going to proclaim that they own it, because, no one else does, and I don't want to step on the international community too hard. We want to do our own thing. So trade talks with the president of Welland. Sordland won flight to Rocklowitz. Sordland one's flight from Holsord to Rocklowitz took approximately 5 hours despite heavy turbulence and managed to sleep a little. Along with Simon and David, we landed at the international airport of the capital city of Welland. Our aim here was to finalize a trade deal drafted in between Sordland and Welland. Shortly after our plane landed, the door opened and the sun blinded me for a moment. I stepped outside. I saw the soldiers lined up on either side of a red carpet. That must have been at least 100 soldiers. The marching band started playing, and the soldiers immediately saluted me. Soldiers proceed to the red carpet without any gestures. I'm not a militant general. I'm an economist. So I will proceed. I walked downstairs and proceeded without any gestures. At the bottom of the stairs, Victor Smolak was waiting for me next to a military jeep with a few soldiers at his side. There were a few reporters at the side waiting with their cameras. Ah, yes. He was a tall man, almost as tall as me. He was wearing large sunglasses, and his attire was a regular suit, contrasting with military attire of everyone else in the field. Mr. President, welcome to Rockowitz. He immediately motioned for an embrace, we hugged, and many cameras went off at the same time. He turned around for a couple of additional poses. Nice to meet you, Mr. President. Thank you for inviting us. Pull him aside for a couple of poses yourself. Nice to meet you, Mr. President. Now that the pleasantries are done, let's go. We will take the jeep for a tour. With another tune from the marching band, we boarded the military jeep. He sat in the driver's seat and I sat next to him. As we started speeding up, the soldiers saluted again. Victor Smolak saluted back. I'm still not going to salute them. I'm not a saluting guy. My security detail and Victor's security detail started following us immediately, along with a team of reporters. We will first go to the city center to see the opening of a statue. Whose statue? Sounds exciting. Better not waste time and go straight to it. Whose statue? It's mine, of course. We kept making small talk about the flight and the weather until we started making our way into the city center. On almost every corner, there were reporters taking photos of us. Oddly enough, every single street that we took seemed completely empty. Is Rockowitz always this empty? Is this all a big photo op for you? How long is this going to take? I had the locals close down their businesses because of your visit, so that you can enjoy the city more. Oh god, it's becoming North Korea. There we are. We arrived at the city center. In the middle of a large plaza, there was a covered statue. Lots of people had gathered behind fences, and they were waving both Sordland and Welland flags. Victor waved back at them. My people have been very supportive of this visit, Mr. President. I'm sure you are delighted to see. A man came closer to the fences and started yelling at Victor. With my limited knowledge of the Wesek language, I understood the words Victor and murder. Well, the names are the same in any language. That's sort of the point. Almost instantaneously, two soldiers showed up from behind the man, and he was taken away. Thankfully, the sun is up. Today will be a good day for the reveal. I see that you know how to handle dissidents. Very good. What will happen to the man who was protesting? I'm glad you approve. We are of the same mind. No, we aren't. See, I knew we would get along fine. We took our places in front of the statue. With the drum roll, the statue of Victor Smolak was uncovered. The statue was done pretty well, except that he was made more masculine. He was wearing a cloak and hiding a sword in his hand. Excellent statue, very lifelike. What do you think? Smolak, don't have time for games. Let's get straight to business. Yeah. Ours can do better in Sordland. I'm not going to taunt him. Don't worry, we will. Join me for a walk. I followed him through the streets. At every corner, more and more photos were taken. We stopped in front of a pastry vendor on the street. Give me 2 strudels. The man behind the stand smiled and gave us 2 strudels. Are you going to pay for it? Pay the street vendor. Wait for him to pay. I'm going to pay the street vendor. I put my hand on my wallet and brought up some money to give the vendor. Hold up. Your money doesn't count here. I got this. He handed the money to the street vendor. The cameras flashed again. Hey, don't worry, man. I got this. Afterwards, we walked a short distance to the palace. Passing the gates of the palace, we made our way to the main building made from ivory-colored stones. The old guard towers flanked the magnificent main building from both sides. Yeah, it's a combination of what I feel like is North Korea and like Cuba from the fucking Fidel Castro days. The inside of the palace was very spacious, with a very large chandelier hanging from the ceiling. Did I read that? Yeah. Grand staircases made from the same ivory stone that had red carpets on them. On both sides to the upper levels, guards stood with traditional outfits of the old Wessex kingdoms. We finally reached the office of the president of Welland. The door closed behind us. The interior boasted gold ornaments on the walls, ivory colors, and various jewels attached to different artifacts of old. As it was customary in Welland, we sat down on the carpet. Interesting. Now we can talk about our trade deal. Finally. I'm gonna nod. I'm not gonna seem impatient. Hopefully. But before that, he clapped his hands twice. I can't do clapping very well like that. Bring the Kisha. A few assistants immediately entered the room carrying a large ornamented Kisha, as the well-known smoking instrument originating from Welland. They immediately lit it up, and the room was filled with the smell of tobacco. He inhaled the smoke and handed me the Kisha. I smoke. I smoke cigars. It was probably the highest quality tobacco I had ever smoked. I handed it back. He took another puff, filling the room with more smoke. So, Mr. President. Bah, that's too long. Can I call you Anton? I prefer my official title. Sure. Anton, tell me, what do you think about Rumburg? Barking dog doesn't bite. They're a threat that needs to be dealt with. They can go to hell. Not much in particular. Like any other country, they have their needs and their own agenda. A barking dog doesn't bite. So essentially, the first one is me saying, well, he was talking, but he's not actually going to be worth any problems. They're a threat and need to be dealt with? Nah, I don't think that. They can go to hell? I don't care enough. Barking dog doesn't bite. I wouldn't be so sure, Anton. I assure you their time will come. Due time, yes. Are you planning something? Regardless, I would rather prevent further conflict in the region. You know as well as I do, Anton. They are coming whether we like it or not. They are the aggressor, not us. For now, I have something else in mind. I'm listening. He clapped his hands again. That was a little better. Two assistants came in the room with a map of the border regions between Welland and Sordland. He pointed at the border. Look. Bloods, or Bloods, I guess in this case, and their so-called BFF are causing problems for me in this region. I know that they are also a problem for you as well. I will not allow these traitors to exist in my border, so I will hit them with all the might of Welland. These terrorists need to be destroyed. I call it Operation Bear Trap. I don't support any military action this close to our borders. What do you want from me? I like the sound of it. Nah, I don't like the sound of it. I don't support any military action this close to our borders. He lay back on the large pillow behind me. Here is the deal. I will give you the best trade deal in the region. You will give me your assistance crushing the terrorists on both of our borders. I need specifics. Absolutely not. I won't meddle in Welland's military interventions. Two birds, one stone. I need specifics. Sure. My spies have infiltrated BFF cells, and they found caches of KA-74. We traced them back to Rumburg. This alone justifies my retaliation to protect my country. I mean, actually fair. Worst of all, we also found that similar shipments are going to Sordland. Yes, Anton, you see, this is not just Welland's problem. Let's take a step back and talk about what you will get in return. I propose you a no-tariff agreement, co-investment projects, and oil. We have lots of oil. In return, you will assist me in destroying the terrorists in my country. What kind of support do you need from me? Can't Welland handle it by itself? There might be international ramifications. What kind of support do you need from me? Can't Welland handle it by itself? We can, but these vermin are good at hiding. What I want from you in return for all the money and the resources is a joint operation in between our armies against BFF. I took a moment to think about it. No deal, it's too risky. I'm afraid I can't accept. Let's negotiate Sordland's contribution in this operation. No. Unfortunately, I cannot accept. Wait, Anton, wait. Normally I wouldn't offer anything else, but I like you. Here is my final offer. When the operation starts, with or without you, there will be stragglers trying to cross into Sordland. We just want you to support the operation, even if you do not join. Stop the terrorists from fleeing into your country, and you will have your deal. Simple, isn't it? So, what do you think? The issue with that is that would require... I mean, now I'm not, like, doing anything directly, which is fine. That's actually a lot better. The operation starts with or without you, and it will be without me. There will be stragglers trying to cross into Sordland. We just want you to support the operation, even if you do not join. Stop the terrorists from fleeing into your country, and you will have your deal. Simple, isn't it? Now, this is a question, certainly. Because there is, Welland. I'm not going to pull a Russia to North Korea here. I'm not going to kill any defectors who want to leave, Let's see here. What do I do about the situation? Because I'm trying to be a more open president, right? Like, Dude for Magnolia is just like, give me more money and also support our occupation of this island. And this dude's just like, I just want to kill all the people that I hate, and cause genocide and shit. The British people are blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, clearly you're the more evil, but you've been more accommodating, I guess you could say. And the city, everything I've seen since I got here has been, let's call it red flaggiest. However, I don't think I can support... I can't stop the quote-unquote terrorists from entering my country. No deal. I'm afraid I can't accept. That's unfortunate. I thought we could be friends. But you decided to leave Welland alone by itself. Such a shame. I'm sure a great leader like Sol would have accepted the great offer, without a doubt. My assistants will show you the way. Goodbye, Mr. Rayne. Take care of yourself, Victor. I returned to Sordland immediately. I felt relieved to be back in Wholesword, not in Welland. So, unfortunately, nothing drastic has happened in the in the border stuff. Rumburg is significantly more of a threat. We failed at negotiating. Says the military is made. We failed negotiating the trade deal with either of them, primarily because they want us to basically commit genocide, and they want us to pay war reparations. Oh well. Speech of the president on the reforms. God, I probably should have taken either of their deals. I don't know. I came to the Grand National Assembly of Sordland to deliver a speech regarding the new constitution and ask for the support of the Assembly before the upcoming vote. Maybe I won't be the president to fix the economy, but I am the president to make the education reforms. And that's good enough. I walked quickly through the corridors, giving my greetings to people on my way towards the Parliamentary Hill. When I entered the hall, the assembly was in complete chaos, with shouting and cursing between the parties. Good. There was a heavy argument about a proposal made by an MP from NFP, National Front Party. It's a front! I took my seat inside the special area reserved for the ministers. Gloria was shouting from her seat at the center of the hall as she hit the gavel 3 times, with each strike heavier than the one before. Order! Order! I saw Kasaro Kibiner standing up from his seat and shouting towards the members of the PFJP. Mr. Kibiner, calm yourself. Show respect for the procedures of this assembly. Despite her efforts, the argument continued for a couple of minutes before everybody took back to their seats and finally went quiet. Mr. Kibiner, next time when I tell you to do so, either take your seat or leave the hall, so we can proceed with the procedures of this assembly and continue our duties. Some MPs from the NFP side shouted back at her in protest. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, if you allow me to continue. She pointed at me. We have the president here with us today. He was asked to give an important announcement. The assembly fell silent. NFP, the National Front Party. Kisaro, Kibbener are not a fan of me. Everyone is not a fan of me. You have the floor, Mr. President. I walked to the stand as loud clapping started in the USP's side. Honorable members of the Assembly. Honorable members of the Grand National Assembly of Sordland, I am here today to raise important questions regarding our outdated Constitution. The Supreme Court holds too much power. Our Constitution doesn't adequately define or respect the separation of powers. Our elected assembly has always been overshadowed. Our Constitution doesn't adequately define or respect the separation of powers. And the balance between the branches. In order to strengthen our democracy, we must be brave enough to point out the faults of our Constitution, I continued. Therefore, we propose changes to the Constitution to prepare Sordland for a more democratic era. We must finally rewrite this Constitution of soul and break our chains of the past. I call everyone to stand by us as we make historical changes to our Constitution and bring it to the standards of today's world. No, see, that's, this one, I'm not gonna click. This one is saying our history is bad. This one is saying we need to be more like the rest of the world. This one is about saying that Sordland can be good. Our country can be good. Applause came from USP and PFJP seats. We will break the Supreme Court's authority over constitutional changes. We will rebalance the branches of government to ensure a more democratic process. I focused on unity, change, peace. Unity. It is more important than ever that we stand united as a nation in these changing times. I call everybody to be a part of the change our people have been calling for. We all want to make Sordland better, don't we? Let's embrace democracy and unite under the banner of our people, and surely Sordland will be great again. Our consul will answer for the crimes committed during his rule. We will make sure of that. We will make Sordland great again. Let's embrace the future. Loud noise came from the USP and NFP seats. Took a breath and continued. Ladies and gentlemen of the Assembly, we must set aside our differences. It's time for a new Constitution together. I ask everyone to think clearly about the current situation and join us for change. We must set aside our differences. Be a part of a new era of Sordland. Join us and vote for a proposal. Ask everyone to support us in the upcoming vote. Ladies and gentlemen, I demand your vote. No. I demand your votes. Ask everyone to support us in the upcoming vote. Let us write the future together. I will address all the problems of the past in my proposal. USP will change and lead Sordland into the future. Let's write the future together. Salute the crowd. Finish with a poem. Salute the crowd. I don't know. I don't want it to end on a somber note, but also I'm not really militant, so I'm gonna salute the crowd. For justice in Sordland, for a democratic Sordland, for a united Sordland, for a free Sordland. For a united Sordland. The Assembly roared with all kinds of different reactions. The whole United Sordland party stood up and started applauding. Thank you for the speech, Mr. President. I walked back to my seat as many MPs asked to speak. Friends Richter was among them. Yes, Mr. Richter. Thank you, Miss Speaker. I would like to thank Mr. President for his speech. We, the People's Freedom and Justice Party, stands in agreement with the need for a more democratic constitution. I would like to thank the ladies and gentlemen of the United Sordland Party for their more open attitude compared to past years. As long as Mr. President's words prove not to be just words, we will be behind this much-needed movement for change. We welcome this attempt. I ask Mr. President to share the final concepts of these proposals as soon as possible. Thank you, Miss Speaker. Suddenly, Kisaro Kibbener started yelling from his seat. The President must have lost his mind to cooperate with the likes of you, Mr. Richter. You and the PFJP are nothing but puppets of Western interests. Order! Madam Speaker, I know you're in agreement with me as well. Don't stand idly there while this administration is making deals with snakes and undermine the integrity of Order! Mr. Kibbener! How many times do I need to say you are speaking out of I demand to speak! Gloria gave him a stare. She looked annoyed. Very well, Mr. Kibbener. Go ahead. Mr. President. He looked directly at me. The nationalist movement does not agree with your priorities nor the way you're trying to implement them. The National Front Party will not stand with you on your new constitution. Let it be known that the NFP's concerns are not included in the so-called democratic reforms. Thus, Mr. President had no right to claim them as such. We will stand our ground against any attempt to bring down our established political culture and national values. Thank you. Casaro went back to his seat, but the chaos in the assembly continued. Asked to speak. I'm gonna keep trying. Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Kibbener, Mr. Richter. I just wanted to thank everybody for their comments. Mr. Kibbener. I looked at him. It is you who shouldn't use the word democratic when you want a more centralized government. We are not specifically cooperating with someone, but everyone. We ask that you also join us. I'm saddened to hear about your opposite stance. We are not specifically cooperating with someone, but everyone. He watched as he slouched on his seat, legs crossed. Do not stand against change. Be a part of it, Mr. Kibbener. We can do much more together. Don't you dare stand against us. No. I respect your opinion. We don't need you. Well, either one or three. Don't stand against us. Be a part of it, Mr. Kibbener. We can do much more together. I expect your... No. We'll bring change regardless of your support. Thank you. Your times have passed. Thank you. Gloria looked at me to see if I'd finished my response. Mr. Richter. I looked at him. Thank you for your nice words. We'd like to have cooperation between our parties. Rest assured your concerns will be addressed. We'd like to have cooperation between our parties. I expect your support, Mr. Richter. We can do much together. Thank you for your support. We're looking forward to work with the PFJP. I welcome your positive attitude. Gloria looked at me to see if I was finished with my response. Thank you, Miss Speaker. I got up from my seat and started my walk towards the exit. MPs kept shouting and responding to each other, creating a loud mess where nothing was legible. Order, order, the topic is finished. We are moving on to our next topic. I slowly left the hall. The shouting could be heard from every corridor of the Grand National Assembly. Things are happening, certainly. Alright, the news. The whole sword post. Rayne, our Constitution doesn't adequately define or respect the separation of powers. President Rayne has called on the Grand National Assembly of Sordland to support the upcoming constitutional changes in his address in the Parliament. The President's address came after a series of meetings within the USP, which probably involved discussions about the new Constitution. President Rayne talked about the main points of the proposed changes and revealed that the current draft will be looked over again in the leaders of the PFJP before it is proposed in the Parliament. Our Constitution doesn't adequately define or respect the separation of powers and the balance between the branches, said President Rayne, pointing out the need for a new Constitution. Excuse me. Walker warns Volkslandian Navy over Helgeland dispute. Tensions between Agnolia and Volksland keep climbing. The latest addition to the escalations happened yesterday on Volgoslavian, just pick one, man, channel where the Volkslandian ships started advancing on the perimeter around the island. According to the Agnolian sources yesterday in the morning, the Agnolian battleship Van Gilben A387 had intercepted a Volkslandian destroyer, Stanison, and warned them to move out of Agnolian waters. The Volkslandian captain did not respond to the communication, but both ships backed away from the scene after several hours of standstill. Seeing the event as Volksland putting pressure over the island, Arcasian President Dwight Walker warned the Volkslandian Navy we will not tolerate any attempts to trigger an incident on international waters. I call upon Mr. Hagel, pull back your ships immediately. And before that, we have a report to read, and then we hit the continue button, I believe on Chapter 3, question mark? Read the report from Wholesort. Reform status. Lucian Glade reported that so far we had We have been able to get in total 142 signatures behind the proposal. Efforts are underway to increase the support and to reach out to necessary members to reach 150. Yikes, we need 8 more, huh? Proceed to next turn. Wealth of Nations. Ooh. But also we're at 30 minutes, so one moment while I get through this still image to see what's going on, because there's not going to be any cutscenes. All of it is text-based, the entire game. Are we in Chapter 3? I don't know. Hang on. Nope. Our economy has not gone up. Our budget has not gone up. Our national wealth has not gone up. Agnolia has a report to make, and Wholesword has a thing to do. So, tune in next time for more. The Lockhaven Times and the Radical both have things to say. Radical probably related to blah, blah, blah. Lockhaven Time, blah, blah, blah. And it would have to be for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I, of course, am Keywii. We're too, so for a delightful day. I love you all. Goodbye.